People of Argos, Apollo can stop this, because they need people's prayers for their immortality. But I agree with my brother's plan, because he believes that humanity needs to be reminded of God's love. On the key version, you were rescued from the ocean by the soldiers of Argos. It was quickly brought into the city. They took me inside the palace and told King Kepler that the quest against the gods they succeeded. Despite heavy casualties, everyone rejoices in victory. And congratulations on that. The king assured everyone that a new era is coming, where the gods will no longer control human destiny. The king's daughter is on Delmeda. He warned his father about his arrogance because she believes there will be serious consequences to anger the gods. But her mother laughed at her anxiety because she thinks that from now they are the gods. Suddenly the lights inside the building started to dim, and a cloud of black smoke gathered in the middle of the mysterious tornado began to pull all the soldiers and lift strong men into the air, then destroy them one by one. But the Virgin somehow tried to keep your position on the ground. The giant black smoke finally reveals the archetype. That's heavens. You are impressed by someone who's able to resist his power. He then turned his attention to the queen of a god. The next thing is to drain the energy from that turn her into a corpse in seconds. The godhead has told everyone that he'll release the giant monster Kraken in the city in 10 days when the sun goes down, unless they give their princess to the monster as a sacrifice for insulting the gods. Before head is limp, he deliberately revealed that the Virgin, he's the son of Zeus, and will be responsible for the disaster I'm about to hear. The soldiers immediately took Virgin hostage. Then their Rocco leader tortured Virgin to force him to say, find a way for them to break this curse. It turns out that I don't know what's going on. However, I was soon visited by a woman. She's called Io. You seem to know everything about your past. Confirmation of his identity as a demigod. It turned out before he was born, King Acrisius tried to rebel against the god by leading a siege to the top of Olympus. But instead of destroying the king's army, Zeus chose to punish him in a more horrible way. The god became king and performed the vows to be strong with his queen. When the king actually returned to his room, the rice had then King Acrisius ordered the execution of his wife, the infant son of Zeus. Before the king threw the coffin out to sea, Zeus struck him with lightning, turning the king into a hideous monster, torturing the king forever. She told the Virgin that his power as a demigod make him the perfect man to kill the monster giant Kraken. If the monster dies, he will also be weakened because the creature was made out of his body. Realize that this is our only chance to take revenge on the one and killed his Virgin decided to join with the soldiers led by the leader of leadership. They're planning to find these witches because they have knowledge of everything, so that they can find a way to kill the giant monster Kraken. On the other side, Thetis decided to visit Acrisius. It's an outcast living in the sewers of the palace. He has told him that the son of Zeus survived many years. Ask him to kill Virgin instead of me. Then Van gives Acrisius tremendous strength by let him breathe corruption into his body. He promised to destroy God if he kills the son of the god. While the bosun came in a forest with the soldiers, and I quickly discovered a bright light is calling me. It turns out Zeus gave you a magical weapon made from heaven. I was amazed at the power of the sword, luminous, but he refused to accept anything from the gods because it was the gods who killed his family. Very fast, Virgin, I caught another extraordinary scene. He saw countless winged horses in front of him. While admiring the beauty of the animal, another giant horse with black wings landed behind me, making me fall down in fear. As creatures spread their wings, Io suddenly appears from behind the person and explained that its name was Pegasus, a magical creature sent by the god to help him destroy the Kraken monster. At that moment there was a terrible scream nearby. Virgin runs towards the soldiers and found that Acrisius, he easily killed 2 of his men. He turned to Poseidon and threw me down the hill. At the same time, it's like a scary monster. He jumped into the air and cut the stone in half. Virgin, I only know how to avoid fatal. I tried to fight back with my sword, but he was too strong and bit into the bosun's arm, made him scream in pain. Fortunately, other soldiers rushed in to help him. They were quickly defeated by him because his power is unleashed. He's still turning his attention to the bosun, grabbed his head, but Rocco immediately cut off his hand, make him run away. When he realized he was injured, Virgin with your own people immediately chase him. But they don't know that the hand is quickly turning into a terrifying scorpion. People are still chasing monsters on the wreckage. Very quickly, the soldiers ambushed him. But people quickly realized that there's something wrong. The ground began to shake and claws appear from inside the sand. That's what allowed his Acrisius to escape. The giant scorpion began to appear on the ground, and the men are forced to fight to take my own life. The monster attacks frantically towards the soldiers. The warriors, quickly overwhelmed by these creatures, and they're stabbed by the scorpion and was carried miles away. While the monster doesn't notice, Draco took a chance and jumped up. The giant scorpion stabbed him in the back with both of his swords. Another soldier threw a spear to Draco to use and stab it through the scorpion's body. Finally, they also killed one of the evil creatures. At the same time, Perseus tries to attack the giant monster, attacked by the creature's claws, and fall to the ground. The scorpion grabbed him and pressed him against the pole. It tried to kill him by using his venomous tail. But Draco came to intervene before its final attack and cut off the bird of the creature. The scorpion changes direction. He attacks Zeus to try to kill her. You just avoid and hide from attacks. Fortunately, the virgin saved her in times of danger. Then they both ran away from there. But the scorpion is still close behind. Realize there's nowhere to run. Poseidon threw her out of the danger zone and fight the creature alone. The monster charged at him with all its power and crashed into buildings before crashing into the boat. The soldiers thought the creature seems to have swallowed the boson, but not Poseidon. You managed to break the scorpion's stomach and kill it to get out. Not enough to celebrate their victory, the other soldiers started running towards everyone. Many scorpions appear from behind the surrounding hills. The team has no way out before the monsters attack. They seem to have acupressure points. When you hear the Rocco chanting from afar, he immediately recognized the mysterious people. They're the enemies you fought years ago. But the version believes they're allies because they're stopping the monsters, and they can control it. The giant monsters basically tame them and turn them. They're a means of transportation. Although hesitated at first, the soldiers quickly decided to trust them because this is the only way to make the journey before the eclipse happens. With the use of scorpions, the whole team can travel across the land with ease. We finally got to Stephen's garden. It's home to dangerous witches. The group up the mountain as night begins to fall. When they get to the top of the mountain, they watch carefully ahead. Be a disgusting witches. Noise start appearing in front of people. These three witches know exactly what the warriors are looking for. They're asking for money in exchange for information, then attack them. But version, they stole their only eye and threaten to destroy it unless the witches give them a solution. To kill the Kraken monster, there's no other choice. The witches told the version that only Medusa can kill the Kraken monster. Because of her eyes, they can turn anything into stone. Satisfied with the answer, Version threw his eyes on the ground and tried to leave. The witches told him frantically that he will die in this war, no matter how hard he tries. After hearing this unbearable prophecy, many have chosen to leave the mission. Only a few soldiers and a mysterious tribal leader, the tribesmen. He wanted to avenge the gods because they deported their people to the desert. When the version is going down the mountains, a mysterious man approached him from behind. But I quickly discovered that that person is no other Zeus. God told the version that he won't beat Kraken. You can't kill Hades. To avenge the family, you want to protect your son, so he can live in heaven, along with the other gods. The version immediately refused. Instead, you choose to live and die like a human. I don't want to see my son lose 7. Zeus gave version 1 gold coins, so I can go to Medusa's lair in a safe way, because it's asking for bribes, not a small payment. After venturing across the last lands, grouped to a whole giant, where a spooky river shrouded in fog appeared in front of them. Take out the gold coin that Zeus gave Cho. Then the tribal leader cast a spell and threw it into the river. They're doing it to try to bribe the ferryman to bring them down below very quickly. Countless souls of the dead emerged from the water, and they pull the giant boat towards the group. Then the evil devil welcomes you all aboard. They cross the haunted river, and people finally see a boy. When they reach their destination, we're all moving onto a field of rocks, and finally to the entrance to Medusa's lair, where only men can enter. Iko had to stay at the back stone to wait for them to return. The warriors entered the cave. It's covered in lava, where countless statues of men are frozen in place. They're all Medusa's victims. They hear laughter, the madness of a woman. Suddenly, many arrows were fired at the soldiers, causing them to fall into the lava pit below. Poseidon tried to hold Draco. He ordered the soldiers to hurry, follow Medusa to beat her up. Meanwhile, Poseidon tries to throw the mysterious tribal leader and save herself. to soldiers. They tried to avoid the devil's gaze while hunting Medusa, but when they come back, they turned into statues. When he fell to the ground and broke into pieces, I also tried to avoid her eyes. You tell your team, waiting for you to lure the monster out, and then you rush into the cracks. Make Medusa chase him, while she tried to kill the version. The version you're still dodging all the attacks of the demon Draco. I watched them from a distance. I tried to wait for the perfect time to ambush the creature. The last version managed to bring the monster back. The tribal leader, he slashed Medusa in the head, missed the target. Then he was quit by grabbing Anna's tail. Medusa tried to turn him to stone but was defeated by Zeus. Turns out the leader of this tribe has no more flesh on his body. He laughed provocatively at the snakehead and decided to blow himself up because a big explosion knocked the monster out first. When this organism can recover, Eco appeared from above and jumped up a giant rock on the ceiling, make it break, and fell right on the monster's tail. Jim, she's on the ground. The devil is angry. I look back and turn her into a statue. Give the version a chance to target the monster's head through the reflection on the shield. Medusa launches towards version before you rush towards the monster. He slashed Medusa in the neck while closing his eyes. Medusa's head fell to the ground. You are the only survivor and carried Medusa's head in a sack. Ico's glad to see you out. But Acrisius, he also came behind the girl, then stabbed him in the back and threw him against the wall. Your version is angry. I tried to avenge my friend, but quickly overpowered by him and knocked to the ground. The version fought back fiercely, but he can't match his power and get punched away. I saw the girl on the ground dying. Version, he decided to use the weapons of the god, then jump into the air to attack the enemy. Slash him, no spray Acrisius. He was quickly overwhelmed by version attacks. Finally, he was stabbed in the stomach, causing him to fall into the version. Rushed back to Io and tried to save her before she dies. But you told him to stop the Kraken monster and save the people of the Argos before the eclipse comes. She disappears into nothingness. Version, I'm so sorry for her death. Then he noticed the black horse flying towards him, waiting for you to come back to the award before the city was destroyed by the Kraken monster. As the eclipse gets closer, the sea floor begins to some giant tentacles underwater. All the tentacles are hurtling towards the castle and make big waves in the ocean. People realize that the monster is coming and tie the princess to the podium, forcing her to make a sacrifice for Kraken so that others can survive. Giant tentacles out of the water and rush into the city with extreme power. It destroys everything along the way. Innocent people had to flee to save their lives. At the same time, the palace inside Olympus began to shake violently, and finally Hades revealed to me that he tricked all the gods to make him stronger. Because the Kraken monster was made out of his body, the destruction caused by monsters will only increase his power. It also makes others weak. The bosun sighed. He flew closer to Kraken and tried to kill the monster, but had he noticed your presence, he immediately appeared and attacked by turning into countless demons. These creatures stole Medusa's head. I have no other way, chasing right behind them. Inside the city, the giant tentacles, they're killing all the innocent people. Kraken monsters start to rise from the ocean and reveal its enormous body while roaring furiously at the human world. The princess was sacrificed, crying in vain after seeing that monstrosity. My version continues to chase the flying to get Medusa's head back. When approaching Kraken, you were almost swallowed by a giant monster. Then he jumped off his flying horse and grabbed the flying creature. It makes both down to the buildings and landed right behind the princess' sacrifice. Monster Kraken close to the princess and tried to devour her ivory body with just one bite. But the version that caught Medusa's head and run towards the monster. He held Medusa's head and stared at her. Giant creature, make the Kraken slowly turn to stone. It screams in pain, the crazy monster rolling around as its body slowly freezes in place. It's causing its giant arm to fall on buildings and killed everyone below. The princess fell into the ocean and landed in the sea. At the same time, the giant Kraken also crumbled to pieces. At the same time, it appears in front of the version and tried to get revenge for killing his pet. But he creates lightning from the sky and throws weapons at them. He's causing a powerful shockwave. Bring the devil back to hell. Version. He jumped into the water and swam towards the princess, save her from death. After coming ashore, princess offers version as her husband, but I refused outright. He did not want to be a king in the future. After returning the princess to the people at Wart version, he was visited again by Zeus. God rewarded his son for saving heaven. It was a girl named Io. Let me live the rest of my life along with the beautiful potato oven that he loved. This scene is also over. The movie is gone today. Please give me a like and a channel subscription. See you guys later.